I confronted my boyfriend about his need to one-up me. My boyfriend and I both grew up broke. Neither of us had up-to-date techie gadgets, and this bothered me somewhat at the time, but I got over it, whereas he is still maddened by it to this day and it influences his purchases. Right now, I'd put us about middle class. Before we lived together, he had an Xbox One. I purchased the slightly improved model for myself because it was on sale and I'd been wanting an Xbox. He became jealous, then went out and purchased the even more optimized model. I purchased AirPod Pros because I wanted wireless buds with noise cancellation. He then began researching and purchased the over-the-ear Apple headphones, which are like 3x more expensive, and he doesn't even use them. He also has two other pairs of over-ear headphones already. My phone died. I'd had it for 7 years, and I knew it was going to happen. My carrier had a deal on the latest iPhone, and the salesman says because I've been with the carrier for so long, he'd cut me an even further deal, so it wound up being cheaper than the previous model. My boyfriend went into a frenzy about how cool it was and purchased the Pro Max version of that iPhone. Now, most recently, a week ago, the car I've been driving since I was a teenager finally bit the dust. I purchased a secondhand car that is much newer and nicer with a ton more features. He's now talking about wanting to buy his next car too, but he can't afford it. I'll often hear him mumbling to himself about wanting a new car. None of these purchases he can afford. They're a large portion of his savings. When he makes these purchases, he always asks how I feel that he now has the more expensive object, and usually I just shrug. He admits that he enjoys having the more up-to-date gadget. Last night I told him I frankly don't give a crap and that the only person who gives a shit in his one-upping game is him. I regretted it immediately and he looked so hurt. I know this behavior is a result of his upbringing, but it's so frustrating. It doesn't help that he can barely afford these purchases, but it almost looks like it's worth it to him just for the bragging rights. He's barely spoken to me today and I'm wondering if I was too harsh.